How can true salt stop being salt? Can you give me that idea? How can true salt stop being salt? Jesus compares a disciple who does not live out the values of the kingdom with an unsalted salt, salt that cannot fulfill its purpose. This begs us to consider if we are being complacent in obeying God's directives. So if we aren't obeying God's directives, we are not within his grace. The Amplified Bible translates, how are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost its taste or its purpose, how can it be made salty? You can't put salt back in. You have to come to the source to have salt. If you don't come to the
Mm.
source, you're not going to have salt. If it's no longer good for anything but to be thrown out and walked on by people, Jesus uses the salt analogy to teach his followers and believers today to submit our agendas to him so that we may not lose our saltiness nor the privilege of becoming a vessel of God's love to those around us. That's the whole purpose. We fully submit our lives to God to become a vessel unto the living God. So
Yes.
why do you think Jesus would use this particular analogy? It's very important to look at today's version in context with the verses that preface it. Jesus, in the famous Sermon on the Mount, preaches the Beatitudes before discussing salt and light. The Beatitudes explain to us the sacrificial way Jesus calls us to live. Matthew 5:11 to 12. Blessed are you when man shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for the great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. So following Jesus is going to cost us something. It's going to cost you a friend. It's going to cost you something in your life that you're trying to hold on to that
Yeah.
belongs to the world. We have to fully submit to God, and that means be a living sacrifice and let him whittle away the things that make us part of the world. So so
We want to control everything, Dave.
that's exactly right. We have to put the old man away. It cost the prophets in the Old Testament and the discipline or the disciples of the apostles in the New Testament. Believers throughout the centuries have willingly suffered for what Jesus stands for. I mean, good grief. The disciples, they were all they were all sacrificed. They became martyrs for God. Did they not?
A little bit, Mom.
So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So and and we know the very first martyr for God was Stephen, and Saul of Tarsus sat there and held the garments of the men that stoned the Stephen, and he was well pleased. So so with the disciples and all the other followers of Christ giving up things for God, I believe to assure us that following him is worth every single earthly cost. I believe he is encouraging us to continue on in pursuit of righteousness, joyful suffering for the sake of Christ.
Come on.
It's startling. It's also spectacular. It's salty, and suffering and satisfaction. The verses following this teaching of Jesus on the salt and light read in Matthew 5:14 to 16, you are the light of the world. And I want you to listen to this portion. A city that's set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but yet we put it on a candlestick, and it giveth
Come
light
on.
unto all that are in the house.
There it is.
Let your light
Right there.
shine